My name is Carla, and I'm your relationship doula, helping women before and after marriage bravely birth peace in the pieces of their lives. You may say, what do I do? Well, I'm glad you asked. I am a speaker, a facilitator, a coach. I believe in prevention. I believe in healthy relationships. I believe in, if you happen to be in an unhealthy relationship, finding tools to make it work. Be it a relationship with yourself, because sometimes that relationship with ourselves can be troubling. Relationship with our spiritual being, that we have some conflict. Relationship with your parents. Relationship with your children. Relationship with coworkers. All of those things we're bombarded by on a daily basis. Thank you, Carmen, for tuning in. And because of the relationship, sometimes we have stress in our lives. And that's where I come in as your relationship doula, your relationship coach, to just help you connect those pieces, learn some tools so you can navigate in your life. Now, this month we've been talking about domestic violence and domestic violence awareness. And share this with someone who you know may be living with someone, or their daughter or their son may be in an abusive relationship. Breaking the cycle. The sad thing is that abuse can be generational. Not that it has to be, but it can be. Years ago, I worked as a case manager, and I saw how that cycle just perpetuates. And after a while, if you grow up in an abusive environment, you think that's normal. And so that's even more dangerous, because then you come into your relationship and you think, well, this is how it's supposed to be. Hitting and screaming at each other, calling you out of your name, slashing tires, throwing out clothes, hitting, withholding affection, running off with the finances. That can be generational, and you don't even realize that it's abuse because it's all that you've seen, all that you've heard. Recently, I was listening to Jada Pinkett on her talks, and she had her husband on for the first time, and she talked about how they had to be intentional with how they communicated with each other, taking communication classes, because the one thing that Will said was like, right, he's not going to have you calling him cursing. That was a deal breaker, cursing. And she was like, really? You would leave because I'm cursing? It's like, yeah, he grew up in that kind of environment and he didn't want that for himself. And she mentioned how they took communication classes to learn how to communicate. And that's where I come in, teaching you how to communicate, because sometimes we think it comes naturally, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. And so learning how to put words into your vocabulary so that you can communicate with words, not with a fist, not with screaming at someone, thinking this is how I'm going to get someone to listen to me. No, that's not normal. That is not normal. So if you are in a situation and you think that this is normal, it isn't. And if you happen to have children who are looking at this behavior, oh my goodness, they're going to have so many issues dealing with teachers in school, because now they don't listen unless somebody's yelling at them. So if the teacher isn't yelling at them, they're now disruptive, because that's the norm for them. So if you speak to them in a soft manner, they're wondering, oh, they're kidding, because they don't understand about self-control, understanding that I don't have to raise my voice to you to get you to listen. But if that's all they've seen, that's what they're going to expect and look forward to. So this is what I mean when I'm talking about breaking the cycle, the generational cycle. The other cycle that I've been talking about is that person in your life who keeps saying they're sorry. They're sorry. They hurt you. Oh, I love you. I'm sorry. You stay. They do it again. Whatever it is in your life. I'm not going to define it for you. You know what it is. You know what it is in your relationship. And so you stay. He or she does it again. You're heartbroken, you are beaten down, and they say, oh, I'm sorry. The tears come. They say, oh, I love you. I didn't mean to do that. It's stressful at work, or the kids did this, or my mom did this. Oh, I didn't mean it. I was drinking. Whatever the excuse they give you. And you say, okay, yes, I'm going to stay. They do it again. And you're wounded, you're hurt, be it emotionally, physically, psychologically, whatever it is, you're hurt, devastated. But they cry and they sob, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it. Please don't leave, please don't leave. I'm not going to do it again. You forgive them. And so what I want to touch on as well too, for some of you who have a spiritual component, in your mind, you think that you need to stay because whatever your spiritual belief is, you feel you need to forgive that person. And so therefore, in that forgiving them, you think you need to stay in that abusive situation. And I say to you, the two things are different. You can forgive someone, but you don't have to stay in an abusive relationship. And that is not what is expected of you. I've heard many people say, well, oh, till death do us part. And again, it didn't mean death by abuse. It did not mean that. That is not the same thing when it says till death do us part. That means when someone is there for you, caring for you, loving you, not abusing you. It's as though you're saying that you're going to stay with your arch enemy. So let's say you were taken captive. You were a prisoner of war, a POW. And so therefore, when they do it, so ask yourself, if you were held a prisoner and if somebody else did it to you, if you had an opportunity to leave, would you? You would. So abuse by someone who say they love you, or if you were taken prisoner, if you would leave and escape, if you had an opportunity, if you were a prisoner of war and somebody did it to you, would you leave and escape? If your answer is yes, then I need you to look at your relationship with that person that you are with and ask yourself, if I wouldn't take this from a captor and I had opportunity to escape, why am I not doing the same thing now with this person who says they love me and they're doing this to me? I need you to just think of that. I really, really need you to think of that. Because so often we hear in the news, another death. Another death. So today's post, I had a casket. Because so often we hear that. And then it's too late for our young girls, our young men. I remember when my youngest daughter told me her classmate, they'd just been out of high school 2 years. Her boyfriend killed her. You know, it is no joke, guys, to sit there and think that you can change somebody. I'm not loving them enough. Oh, they just need me to be a little bit patient. That is not your role to do. That's their issue that they need to take responsibility for and seek help. They can find a coach like myself if they were really interested in changing behavior and finding out, what is it? How can I learn to communicate with my partner? What do I need to do? And when I talk about domestic abuse, it can be boyfriend-girlfriend, girlfriend-girlfriend, boyfriend-boyfriend. Hey, is that LaTanya? Thank you for tuning in. Whatever that looks like, you have to be careful. And that abuse can be parent to child abuse as well too. I've heard many people say, well, oh, it's your parents, so you have to do whatever they say and take it. We have to be careful as parents that we're not abusive to our children, because no, they don't have to love us and respect us. If you're feeling frustrated and you need some coping skills because maybe you need to learn to set boundaries with your children, reach out to someone like me. Would love to help you, love to show you how to set boundaries in that relationship so that you're no longer frustrated and your children know exactly what the parameters of the relationship are, what your expectations are, what you're not going to put up with. So don't become abusive. So abuse comes in so many different forms, and we just need to be careful because, again, once that person is no longer in our lives, we tend to have so many regrets. But again, prevention. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there, find your local domestic violence center, wherever that is. Get some help. Break the cycle. If not for yourself, if you have children, do it for them. They don't need to see this cycle of abuse and then repeat it in their own relationships. Now, my name is Carla. I am your relationship doula, helping women before and after marriage bravely birth peace in the pieces of their lives. You guys have a good weekend.